Good morning. Good morning. My name is Travis with Oscar Mike Radio, part of the Hoobazoo Network. Go to zoo.com to find out more. And I'm on the move. Literally drove up this morning to, is it Worcester or Worcester?
Worcester.
Worcester. I get that wrong all the time. I'm not from around here, but I am pleased to be with Mr. Bill Moore, who is the president, founder, and CEO of Project New Hope. Bill, welcome to the Oscar Mike Radio Livecast. Good morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
You know, I am just pumped to be here. This is what the podcast and now we do this live stuff is all about, is really getting to sit down and talk with people like yourself face to face about the work you do. And I found your story and your organization, the people you serve, very, very interesting. So just briefly to start us out with, could you kind of just summarize your military experience?
Sure. I graduated from North High School in Worcester, Mass, 1976.
Really? Oh, wow. So you are Mass.
And went right into the Air Force right out of high school at age 17. Celebrated my birthday in boot camp. They didn't bring me any cake or anything.
No cake?
No cake, no.
I thought the Air Force guys had it easy.
No, that was the Marines. The Marines have that.
No.
And so went down to Lackland Air Force Base for boot camp. And after that was completed, went up to Chanute Air Force Base up in Rantoul, Illinois.
My grandfather worked at Chanute.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Out of Paxton, Illinois. That's where he lived.
Well, it was the coldest place I've ever been. It was horrendous up there. And so I was up there for fire protection school and to be a firefighter in the Air Force. And was up there for about 3 months and, came home for Christmas and then headed over to Rhein-Main Air Base, Frankfurt, Germany for 2 years on the fire department. Stayed there. I did extend. I was going to do my whole enlistment there at Rhein-Main Air Base in Frankfurt, Germany. But, the grass always looks greener on the other side of the fence. And so I got orders and I went down to Cannon Air Force Base, New Mexico, Clovis, New Mexico. And I only saw tumbleweeds in John Wayne movies. And there was a big cattle ranch out the front gate. And I says, oh, my God, I should have stayed in Europe. And so I was down there. I went from a MAC base, Military Airlift Command, to a TAC base. And we had 3 squadrons of F-111s.
The old Aardvark, right?
Yeah.
So the Aardvark was a 2-seater plane. They sat side by side like we're doing now. The whole,
Right. Yep. Yeah, it was very interesting. We kind of had it made at Rhein-Main Air Base, and then we get down to the fighter base there, and we had everything coming in there. We had F-4s and a lot of aircraft coming in, and so during my year and a half there, I was involved in a aircraft that came in for an in-flight emergency. I was a crew chief by that time, and all the crew chiefs manned our second run, like the second run pumpers, our water tankers and stuff. So we had a structural fire in the housing area. And, of course, when you're young, you want to roll out on everything, So all the crew chiefs, I jumped in the P-13, which was like a pickup truck with dry chem and halon. And I was out in the structural fire, and we were cleaning up, and we got a 10-13 for an in-flight emergency on an F-111. And so I came racing across from the housing area over to the flight line. Of course, the crash truck that I was the crew chief on was already sitting out on the runway. We'd line up down the runway, different positions all the way down the runway. And we would chase that aircraft down the runway. And so it came down, and they were riding them brakes to try to stop that aircraft. And when the brakes got hot on the F-111, it was supposed to, pop the filler valve on the tires. The air. Well, it exploded and ripped open the fuel cell underneath the thing there, and then just engulfed that aircraft.
My God.
So, of course, all the crash trucks are shooting the foam and stuff on it. And they told me if I came out of the crash truck, the P2, if I came out that side door, I would have got hit with the debris that was when the tire exploded. I probably wouldn't have been here. So I got out of my P-13. All I had on was my the old asbestos, the bunker pants, which we're finding now are very toxic to a lot of the
just slightly
stuff. And I got out, charged my dry chem halon, and went in and put down a blanket on the right side, and the pilots got out, and the other tire blew, but I was behind it and lost my hand line, and And that was that. I was in JP4 and jet fuel and foam and everything else here. And I can still remember the gentleman from Washington State. His last name was Flossie, and picked me up like I was a sack of potatoes. I was just drenched and that was that. I got out, injured my back, and then I came down with respiratory problems, asthma. You usually get asthma when you're a kid. Here I am, 21, 22 years old with the nosebleeds and everything else. I couldn't do the job, so they put me in the extinguisher maintenance shop and stuff like that. And then I got out early under a Palace Chase, I think it was called back then. I went to college under the GI Bill, and so I got out with a service-connected disability and went to school for my associate's degree and stayed and got my bachelor's and then transferred over to Assumption College here in Worcester for my master's degree in counseling under the GI Bill.
So that's very interesting, because the first thing I want to ask you, looking at your story, is a lot of us vets, regardless of their separation status, never touched their GI Bill.
Yeah.
But it looked like from the get-go, I wanted to ask, it seemed like you had a very set course on your education or academic path. Can you kind of tell me, what prompted you to go in that direction?
Well, my whole family are all law enforcement, state police, and firefighters. My dream was to be on the Worcester Fire Department. But because of my service-connected disability, I couldn't pursue that career field as a firefighter. So I had to look at something else here. I wasn't the smartest bulb when I was in high school. I'm lucky I think I got out of high school because I was going into the military. But I went in, I had that passion. I wanted to be a firefighter. I excelled, in the schooling in the Air Force. And then when I got out and you can't do it any longer, I said, I'm going to take advantage of the GI Bill here. And it was hard because I'm not book smart. I'm street smart, and it was hard to go back to school here.
You seem to like it, though. You got, 2.5, 3 degrees?
3 degrees, yeah.
Right.
And a certificate in gerontology. So I was working full-time for the Commonwealth of Mass, and I started off as a laborer when I was going to school nights, and then I got my associate's degree, and then I transferred over, and I was working for the Department of Youth Services and Juvenile Corrections, and then I got my bachelor's degree, and then I says, you know what, I'm going to go for my master's degree in counseling. I'm the only one out of 6 siblings that have a college degree. And, you can apply yourself to get this. And what I kind of kicked myself in the butt here is I kind of, you're going to school, you're getting a service-connected disability, so you're getting a check every month for your disability. Then you're getting a check for going to school under the GI Bill, So things are pretty good. So I kind of took a lot of classes maybe I shouldn't have taken, basket weaving, this and that, whatever, photography and stuff, because the more classes you took, the more you were getting paid. So I was in school a long time, and I think 19 years I was going to school part-time. And so the registrar, she says, Bill, you're getting out of here. And that's when I was going for my associate's degree. And she says, I'm putting you in biology 2. I said, you can't do that. I says, I haven't had biology 1 yet. She says, I'm the registrar. I can do whatever I want. So I graduated from Quincy and went over to Assumption College, and the party was over. And but I had some great teachers over there and really excelled. It's different about working full time during the daytime and then going to school at night with the peers that are probably in the same boat you are. They got young families, they're working full time. They're going to school nights to better yourself. And once I got that master's degree, I was working as a home-based therapist for adolescents. I was making $45 an hour part-time. I was making more money part-time than I was making full-time working for the state. And I says, I kicked myself in the ass because I was goofing around here in school here, just taking a couple of classes at night here. And had I known I could have made this kind of money here, I think I would apply myself. But I think it's really important for vets. It's a benefit that you earned. And I'm not saying not everybody should maybe go to college, but there's a lot of technical schools out there. Go and learn how to be a plumber, electrician. There's a lot of trades out there. It doesn't have to mean you got to go to college, but yeah, I think it's very important. I mean, it really put me on the path to, moving forward here.
So folks, I am at Project New Hope in Worcester, Massachusetts this morning with CEO and President Air Force veteran Bill Moore, and We're talking about his career, how he got into this, how he serves and continues to serve. And the reason for the podcast, the reason for us doing this is so people can hear and understand these kinds of stories. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that, people never see, which is why we're raising attention. So you're not a career student, but you definitely like sitting in class. You're moving toward some kind of conclusion due to your register hooking you up. What's the next step after that? What did you do after that?
Oh, when I graduated from college, I was working full-time for the Commonwealth of Mass, and I was working 2 part-time jobs. I was working for Arbor Council and doing home-based therapy for adolescents, and then I was doing home-based therapy, working with the mentally ill population in group homes and stuff, and just really loved that connection, interacting with people and stuff. And when I was working as a social worker for the state, I would always tell my clients, I'm not above you, I'm not below you, I'm on the same path here. We're looking at one another here. My goal as a social worker was to work with the family, because when you're treating a family or you get a referral in for an adolescent, you're not just treating that adolescent, you're treating the whole family. You're treating his siblings and mom and dad. So, you try to give them little tasks, build up their self-esteem, their confidence here, give them some resources. And the goal is to get me out of their lives as a social worker. And I just love that interaction. It was a funny story. I was up visiting 2 clients up at the Great Brook Valley. It's at the housing project here in Worcester. And I'm sitting on the bench outside their home, and they were a hoot. And I kept seeing this police car going around and around. So my phone rings, and it's my cousin. He's a Worcester police officer. He says, tell me that ain't you sitting over there on the bench with those 2 Spanish girls. I says, yeah, it is. I said, these are my clients here. He's Billy. I got a bulletproof vest and a 9mm, and I wouldn't sit over there on the bench. And I said, no, I'm perfectly fine. And what's funny here is when I was working in juvenile correction, a lot of the kids that lived up here in the housing area, my mom and dad lived in Great Brook Valley when my dad got out of the Navy during the Korean War. It was built for the military. And, they're great people up there. And, so I knew a lot of the adolescents, the kids that are up there, maybe they were in juvenile hall or whatever. And then, of course, working as a social worker and stuff. But I just really thrived in that environment. And what's really great nowadays is having people come up to me and say, hey, Bill Moore, thank you for what you did. You're a role model for me. You did this or that. So, that really makes you feel good and makes you want to do more.
So from day one, you're about service, you're about helping people. You went to school for it. You started working in your local community, right here where you grew up and right here where you joined the military from. What was the point you decided to make a veteran nonprofit?
Well, I mean, I've always, even when I was working for the Department of Social Services, I was always wheeling and dealing in the community. I was always involved with the veteran community as a disabled vet. I was active with the Worcester Chapter 4 Disabled American Veterans. So I was always out there doing things, supporting different causes and stuff. In 2010, I retired. I think I retired in 2007. The VA, put me at the 100% service connected, and so 2007, I was online. I was looking for different programs, and I came across a Project New Hope out in Minnesota. And I called the gentleman up, Bruce Billington, and he started Project New Hope out in Minnesota. And they did weekend retreats, and they did fishing stuff and hunting, and they focused on PTSD and other issues and stuff. And I called them up, and they invited me to come out. They paid for my plane ticket out, a round trip, and Minnesota was cold. I thought Rantoul, Illinois was cold. But so I went up there, and I said, well, I really like this concept here. And they says, hey, brother, why don't you take the concept here and open up something down in Massachusetts? He says, you'd have to go for your own 501c3 and all that stuff. Right. So I had a friend of mine that I was in the Air Force. He was a retired chaplain. He helped with the Articles of Incorporation to get the thing up and running, go down to the Secretary of State's office, do the filing. And I reached out to a Gold Star mom here in Worcester. And, I told her about Project New Hope, and I wanted to start this here. Her name was Tracy Valancourt. And she lost her only child in Afghanistan, Brian Mokman. and she gave me $5,000 from Brian's death gratuity money. He says, "Go get your 501c3," and we've never looked back. And we just started our ninth year in January.
So I got a couple of questions for a couple of minutes about this. And again, folks, I'm with Bill Moore, President, Founder, and CEO of Project New Hope in Worcester, Massachusetts. In my getting more and more into the veteran community, both en masse and nationwide, a lot of people only focus on the Boston area. There's several reasons for that, but you're in, for lack of a better term, the middle of Massachusetts. My first question is, what's the need out here? How is Worcester different than Boston? Because Worcester's not a small city. Worcester's one of the biggest cities in the state. Well,
there's a need. One, we're blessed to be veterans living in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Unlike any other state, we have a lot of services afforded to us from the legislator. We have, we're really lucky to be a disabled veteran in Massachusetts. That being said, I have friends that run other nonprofits and stuff. And, out in Boston, that's where all the money is. That's where, I dread going into Boston. It's like I grew up in Worcester. I know all the back roads, shortcuts. So if I grew up in Boston or Charlestown or whatever, I would know I could navigate around Boston. But I'm a vet with PTSD, and, I stress when I go into Boston with the traffic and the roads that are closed and this and that. And if I don't have to go, I don't go. I was getting all my health care down at JP, and I just transferred up into Leeds, up into Northampton, because I can't do that. I can't do that Mass Pike to 128 South to Route 9.
No, you don't like that?
Oh, my God. It's
some people do it every day.
You look at road rage in the dictionary, you see my picture there.
It's unbelievable.
But so starting, that's where everything is down in Boston. And I think a lot of the, the state, the state houses down there, all the representatives of the VFW American Legion, they're all down like at the VFW JFK building. So everybody's down in Boston. And I always says, hey, there's people living out here in Western Mass. There's people living out here way out in Western Mass, up in Westfield and Chicopee and North Adams and
Pittsfield, all that.
Pittsfield, and and they tend to forget. They say there's nothing west of 128. Well, there's definitely nothing west of 290. And
that's true.
But it's beautiful country out there. But you tend to feel like, hey, are they forgetting about us? If they're offering like free services and this and that, everything's down in Boston. Do something up here in Worcester. Do something up in Western Mass.
So the challenges for an organization like yours in terms of just forget service. I mean, we'll talk about that here in a second, but you have the aspect of having to either raise funds and then allocate those funds effectively across a wide geographic area. That must be challenging at times, or is that, have you had enough experience out here that's not so much of a deal anymore?
Well, I think every organization, we have a grant writer we bring on board. But when I started this 9 years ago, we were out doing voluntary toll roads out in the middle of the an intersection up in the Leicester Center, and we would collect about $1,500 to try to put on. I had no clue how I was going to pay for these veterans retreats, and so we were doing comedy fundraisers. We were doing anything to try to raise the money.
Right.
And then we started, of course, like myself and a lot of other nonprofits, you're reaching out to other organizations trying to get some donations here, and it was a lot of work here, and. So we're doing pretty good. Our retreats cost us between $8,000 and $10,000 per retreat. We're doing 10 this year, and so we've been pretty blessed with the people that came on board. But you can't do it alone. There's a lot of great nonprofits out there. Now I partner with a good friend of mine, Don Cox, and Don runs it's called the Mass Military Support Foundation. I serve as the vice president on the Mass Military Support Foundation. It was originated in Cape Cod. And so we partnered here. And what we did is we brought on another gentleman, Dave Sutton. He's with the One Call Away Foundation up in Southwick. You got so there's a lot of there's a lot of different veterans organizations that we're part of the Mass Military Support Foundation. It's because we want to work together. There's no sense. I try to stay in my avenue. My avenue is free weekend retreats for veterans and their families. We do. Last year, we put together 1,000 backpacks full of school supplies for military and veterans children. We do a Christmas program. So I try to stay in my lane. We got other organizations where they might focus on PTSD, suicide prevention. So we'd make a referral over to them. Donnie here with the Mass Military Support Foundation, he's down the Cape, but he gets a lot of resources and providing those resources to our organization. So you can't do it alone. It's so we collaborate with one another.
So speaking of doing it alone, I'm gonna give a plug out to one of your sponsors, if I may. I'm gonna show everybody Bose headphone company, and they're based in Mass, right?
Yeah.
Got in Framingham. Everybody knows who Bose is. Got with you about supporting your effort in a very real way, and I'm wearing their headphones for this live cast, and I must say they're working very great. But that kind of support from a global company right here in our backyard must validate something that you're doing.
Yeah, what's funny is I'm very active on social media because that's where our veterans are. They're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they're on LinkedIn, they're on Instagram. That's where I get the majority of my veterans to show up for my retreats from all over the country. And Bose called me a couple of years ago, and Bose says, we've been watching you. And just because people are not liking your page doesn't mean people are not looking at that page and what you're doing. And they said, he said, what really is incredible is you're all volunteers. He says, you're veterans and you're running this veteran and you're not even taking a salary. He says, you're doing more as a small nonprofit than some big other nonprofits paying themselves over $200,000 to run an organization. So they gave me 5,000 pairs of those headphones that you got on your ears right now. And so we hand those out to, we brought them up to the Green Mountain Boys up in Vermont when they were deploying to Afghanistan. We gave each soldier a pair as they were getting on the plane. We gave them to the Groton Submarine Base. We brought them down to Newport, Rhode Island. We shipped them over to Africa, Iraq, Afghanistan. We've gone to the Mass National Guard, Air Guard, and we handed all those 5,000 out. And they're just a great supporter. And I'm not the only veterans organization they're supporting. They support others. And so when I come into contact with a veteran, I have, like I did, I presented you a pair of Bose headphones. Thank you from Bose Corporation here. They're incredible what they're giving back to the community and our veteran population.
So I want to talk about the retreats here more in depth in a few seconds, but we're in this room, and I think it's a very cool place to do this live cast because there's stuff here that I'm looking at and probably wouldn't give to a veteran, but there are items here that obviously are put to use. I just wonder if you kind of talk about what I'm seeing in this room right now.
What you're seeing in the background here is a year ago, August, my mom passed away from Alzheimer's, and we opened up a baby pantry. We have a lot of military families that are young. They got young children. And we have a lot of other corporate sponsors, Carter's, Jamboree, Crazy 8. And these are all brand new clothing in here. And they're available to young families that have young children, the military veteran families. And they come in. We got the baby diapers. We got baby food. We got formula. We got baby wipes. We got brand new children clothes from 6-month 2T. I don't know what it's. I'm just reading the labels on the thing. We got brand new, we got shoes and boots. We got clothing for mom over here. We got personal hygiene items and stuff. And we have two of these. We have one here in our Worcester office, and we have one in our Westfield office. And the baby pantry up there is called Scarlett's Baby Pantry. And the girl that runs that her name is Brooke, and she's a Marine Corps spouse. Her husband's signed here for 3 years as a recruiter. They're getting ready to leave in December. And then Tom was Air Force, and he's a retired Chicopee police officer working my Westfield office. And they're doing a lot of outreach out in Western Mass. So we provide, we just had 100 coats that was donated to us from Unum, the insurance company in Worcester, sent us 100 brand new children's coats of a variety of sizes. So we've been pushing those out up at the 104th Fighter Wing up in Westfield, the Westover Air Reserve Base up in Chicopee, the Springfield Armory. So we're getting them out there for the need that's out there and pushing them out here in Worcester as well.
Man, that's great. And it just, it's nice to see how action locally benefits everyone. Whereas some people give to these national organizations, you're not really sure where your money
Yeah.
or stuff goes. There's several organizations we could talk about that kind of get called out for a lack of advocacy, if you will. That's how I'm going to put it. But I keep telling people, Bill, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I really believe that organizations like yours deserve the donation dollar more sometimes than the big corporations. I don't know how you feel about that, but I like knowing that when I advocate locally or telling somebody to advocate locally, it's going to go further than giving it to a black hole. That's how I feel.
Yeah, they can come down here. We have some women here that they're doing diaper drives for us. So
Really?
they came in with 50 boxes of diapers. So it's local here. They can come down here and they can see us in action. They can see the resources are going locally throughout Massachusetts. Whether we're in Western Mass, down in Boston, we had the Coast Guard, we had the government shutdown here. So we had gift cards left over from our Christmas program. So we donated $500 in gift cards to the Coast Guard to hand out for their families so they could keep them fed and stuff and meet their needs while the government was shut down here. So we're here in Central Mass and we have an office up in Western Mass. We're collaborating with a lot of other organizations, not just military organizations, but like the United Way. And, a lot of the church groups and shelters and food pantries and stuff, and one hand washing the other here. And so it's a great network here. And they're reaching up into New Hampshire. And, we do our retreats up in Old Orchard Beach, Maine, and we've done them in Vermont and Rhode Island.
Wow.
So we're all over the place.
So speaking of all over the place, I'm Travis with Oscar Mike Radio. I am live casting today from Project New Hope in Worcester, Massachusetts. I'm with CEO and
Just say Bill.
Well, okay. I like to be more formal.
I know.
Okay, I'm with Bill, U.S. Air Force veteran, and Bill has a local organization called Project New Hope, and it's just been fascinating to learn about what he's doing and how he's gotten here. And I kind of want to talk more now about the retreats. It's very interesting. What's the thought process behind the retreats, and what do you think happens when you get a military person and his family to come to one of these?
Well, it's interesting. A lot of this stuff wasn't available when I was in the military.
Okay.
We didn't have any of this stuff yet, any of these resources. To offer a free weekend retreat, when I retired from the Commonwealth of Mass with a master's degree in counseling, I just had too much to give back. I just had too many resources that I could share with my fellow brother and sister veterans here and their families. So when they come to each one of our retreats has a theme. And I'll talk about the first one we're doing this year. The theme for our March retreat is alcohol and drug recovery retreats. Right now, a lot of our men and women in military service have done multiple deployments and they're struggling with substance use, whether it's alcohol or marijuana or coke or whatever the case might be. So, as a veteran, I'll talk about myself. As a veteran in here, I remember something, my wife told me here. My wife says, Billy, you're a damn good social worker. You help out a lot of people, but you can't help yourself. And that's a true statement, because what happens is veterans, and being a Marine, we try to think, we don't want to ask for that help. We don't want to.
It's hard sometimes.
And we're
very
drowning.
hard.
We're drowning. And she says, you got to do something, or you're not going to have this family here. You got to do so. You got to, and it was hard because I'm a master level clinician, and I'm asking for help here. That I need help here.
Right.
And I went and I went in and I said, I need some help here, and I started getting treated at the Worcester Vet Center, and that was a process, and worked on myself, because how can I help anybody else with my nonprofit when I can't even help myself here? So I had to focus on myself, and I learn every day. And so, I still go to a group. I go to a PTSD group at the VA. I go twice a month just to keep me a baseline. And, I listen to other vets that are in that group there. And, they were where I was maybe a few years ago. And if I can offer, any help to them or guidance, it's like we're helping one another here. So as far as the retreats, The theme here is the drug and alcohol, and it's in March. They register on our website, which is www.projectnewhopema.org. They register. They put all their information in. There's a $50 deposit, which is refunded after the retreat is over. And the reason why we did that is when you have something that's free and you have people signing up for it, and then they don't show up for the retreat and they don't call, they don't email, we're still on the hook to pay for the food and the lodging.
Right.
So it's a small token. And a lot of the veterans come into this after they do the 3-day weekend retreat. They said, Bill, just keep the donation as a donation, and then we give them an in-kind donation slip, and they can write that off. So they register. We follow up with them. Betty is sitting in the back here, and Betty is her husband passed away a few years ago, a Purple Heart recipient, and she wanted to stay involved, and she's very active with the Purple Heart organization. Her husband was.
Well, thank you, Betty.
And so Betty comes in and she works the phones here and sends out the thank you cards.
Oh, wow.
She's got that beautiful penmanship that our grandmothers used to do.
I certainly don't have it.
I don't think they teach it anymore. So what we do is they come and so they'll show up at the retreat. We send all the information out. Betty sends the information out and what to bring for the retreats, and then they show up and we get them assigned to their individual rooms. They have their private rooms and stuff where it's on 250 acres of land up in Groton, a 1.25 miles of waterfront property. We got kayaks and canoes and pontoon boats up there, and they come in, and then we have a community meal at 6:00, and then after supper here, we have our first workshop. It's an introduction with our guest speaker. We bring in our guest speakers that specialize in whatever the theme that we're doing, and all our speakers are former military.
Oh, wow.
And so that's that. Saturday morning, they get up and they go to breakfast. And then we have our couple of workshops in the morning. We have lunch. And then we're very big into wellness. We do, in the Saturday afternoon, we do acupuncture, mindful meditation, reflexology, Reiki. We have a warrior art room, which is we just contracted with him. He's a disabled vet, retired from Western Mass. He's coming to all our retreats, providing the art therapy. And then we have music therapy. It's called Resounding Joy. It was started for the Marines out in San Diego, music therapy, and they're all graduates of the Berkeley School of Music. They've been with us for a few years now. It's incredible. We bring everybody in the room like a big circle. They bring all the instruments in there, and you're singing, and
So this is not like a retreat where you kind of tip a few back.
No.
You're creating a space for people to work on themselves.
Yes, we're drug and alcohol free. What's you and I, as you in the Marines, Air Force, I've heard all the banter back and forth. We all sling it pretty well.
Sure.
And what gets, as veterans, we'll always connect with one another.
Right.
And just meeting you, I would rather open up and tell you about what my struggles are and what's going on with you than talking to my life partner, my spouse. And what happens at these retreats is the spouses come and they got all this, they're nervous about being there, and because they're usually the ones that are reaching out for these retreats and signing the families up and saying, hey, we're going to be going to this. And now they connect. We're going to connect because of our military service, but the spouses are now going to connect with one another. And then they find out, geez, you live in Grafton. Hey, I live in Worcester. Hey, you live down in Milford. Now they have a support network. So they're not alone anymore. They're not isolated. Now they have other spouses and significant others that are going through the same things. So now they're getting that support as well. We're trying to help out the younger guys of our experiences. Hey, this is, we can take care of this. We can take care of that. And of course, the children that are coming to the retreats, they're just kids and they're going to run around and just tear up the place and have a good time and stuff.
One thing you mentioned that I can't help but touch on is, I got to meet your lovely wife before we started this, is you're another gentleman who has said that his wife is, for lack of a better term, the foundation, cornerstone of what you do. And I'm curious how that is, because she didn't serve, she didn't ever fire a gun in combat, but she's right here in the fight with you. And I'm curious if you tell me about that, because a lot of people like yourself who are successful in veterans advocacy or advocacy in general usually have a spouse who's either supportive or says to the spouse, I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna roll up my sleeves and help you make it work. So I just kind of wanted you to talk about her for a second and what she means to you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, she's. We just celebrated our 35th wedding anniversary on the
What?
28th of January, and so yeah, she's been with me through thick and thin here. You know, when I was really struggling, you know, had the little guys at home and stuff, and was just really struggling with. You know, it's I was a firefighter. I'm not a combat vet, but I could smell jet fuel. That's like a trigger for me.
Right.
Siren. You know, somebody slams the door. My grandson was in here yesterday, and he had a pail full of change, and he dropped it on the floor, and I came up out of the chair there. But my wife, she might have not served in the service, but she's serving now. I'm not serving anymore, but I'm serving in the community.
Correct.
And it's she's just an anchor. She is just the. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for her. And it's tough love, and she's people say, Jesus, 35 years, she's still with you, and I always, because I'm always flipping it, and I'm saying, people are telling me, Donna, I'm an angel, I'm going to heaven. They're rolling their eyes saying, Betty's gasping at that thought, but we know who the angel is, and I'm just blessed to have her. And sometimes guys, men don't push your spouses away. They're your biggest supporter. They're going to be there for you thick and thin, but you got to open up. You got to communicate. Communication's a big thing. It's hard to communicate when you're not used to communicating and stuff,
Sure.
But no, Donna is, she's a founding member of Project New Hope. She's been here for the 9 years. She does a lot with, she's like the face I might be the face of Project New Hope. I'd rather be out networking and wheeling and dealing, and Donna, they get the stuff done here. You want something done, you have the ladies do it, because they get it done.
She runs a tight ship. I'm just telling you. I mean, I got it real, and you need that. You need that. It's hard work. I mean, I don't think people realize how hard what you're doing is. And speaking of what we're doing, I'm Travis with Oscar Mike Radio with Bill of Project New Hope in Worcester, Mass. We're live casting right now from his office in Worcester. He's telling me about his experiences and what he's doing for veterans. Just a really good time today, Bill, learning about what you do and how the mission's different here than, say, in other parts of Massachusetts. So I want to thank you for your time. But you mentioned you have a Westfield office, and you do the retreats. They're about working on the veteran, improving life for not only the veteran and their family. Is there any other kind of outreach you want to highlight?
Well, let me just touch on those retreats real quick.
Oh, and I'm sorry, just real quick. Hey, in about 20 minutes, we're going to open this up to a question and answer period. I know some people are watching this and chiming in. Thank you very much. But in about 20 minutes, we'll be able to really turn over to you all watching. You can ask your questions to Bill, and he'll answer them. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem, sir. So, our first one in March is for alcohol and drug recovery. The next one after that, we partner with the Rhode Island VA, and we're doing one on military sexual trauma and PTSD, and that's going to be up at our Grotonwood facility. The one in May, we're focusing on veterans' wellness. That's all yoga, acupuncture, Reiki, mindful meditation. So if there's any people out there that practice those and you want to volunteer with a great nonprofit, please go to our website, www.projectnewhopema.org, and fill out a volunteer form. But that's going to be a great weekend of just focusing on wellness and ourselves. In May, we're doing a women veterans retreat up in Westfield, Mass. That's a very popular one. We usually have between 40 and 60 women veterans coming in from all over the country, and we're bringing in our guest speaker, and I think she was in the Navy, and then in June, we're doing a wilderness veterans retreat, something new up in Western Mass. And what if you got lost in the woods here? How do you build a shelter? How do you have your drinking water? What can you eat out there? How do you start a fire?
Don't you just Google it?
Yeah, you Google it, yeah. So we're going to do that, and that's going to be Saturday. It's going to be a guided kayak tour, and then we're going to end up on Sunday when we close up. We're going to have a whitewater rafting trip on that one. So it's on we're doing in July, we're bringing in Ceylon Green for a PTSD veterans retreat up at Old Orchard Beach, Maine. Ceylon was a fighter pilot in the Marine Corps. His aircraft banked sideways. They ejected out sideways. His wingman got killed. He broke his back, and He went through the drugs and alcohol when they med boarded him out. His whole life was gone. He got a motorcycle. He rode around for 2 years trying to find himself, what was going on. Met his wife out there. They're married. They live in Indiana. They got 11 children.
Well, 11?
11 children, yeah.
Wow. Love does conquer all.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Then Saturday, August 17th, we're doing our Birdies for Vets. That's our golf fundraiser we do every year. And all this stuff is up on our website. We partner with the Elizabeth Dole Foundation.
Really?
Last year, they gave us a grant to provide a caregivers retreat for the spouses of our wounded warriors, and we did that up at Old Orchard Beach, and we're doing that again on August 25th through the 30th, and we're really looking forward to that. And then, we don't want to forget our Gold Star and Survivor families, and we're doing a Gold Star and Survivor Family Day on September 7th, and we're going to bring them out whitewater rafting, and just a chance to reflect on their loved one and to be with one another. So it's always special when we're doing something with our Gold Star and Survivor families. And then in September, we're doing a Veterans Fishing Weekend. It's going to focus all about fishing for the whole weekend, and we got Dan Kenny, who runs all these fishing expos. He just did one here. He's doing it down in Connecticut at Mohegan. Yeah, Danny's on my advisory board.
No way.
Yeah. And
well.
So that's Danny's coming in, and Sean Tibbetts from up in the Maine. Sean's on my advisory board as well. He takes us all out deep sea fishing when we're up in Maine.
Nice.
And do you know those two fellas?
Well, I've heard about them. Yeah. That's the thing. And that's great stuff.
Our last one in October, we're offering a Native American Women Veterans Retreat, and we're working with a couple of young ladies that were in the military. And we're putting that together. One's with the Mohegan tribe, and the other one is with the Sioux tribe. And so they've been helping us put that together, and that's going to be in October. So any Native American women veterans out there, we'd love to have you sign up for that retreat. So that's pretty much what we're doing this year. We got really a full plate for these retreats, and
So you're retired, but not idle.
No, when the VA retired me, they said, I said, can I volunteer? And they said, yeah, you can volunteer. We encourage you to stay active, and I think the biggest fear for my wife was that, I was going to be in the Legion Hall, the VFW, drinking or whatever. And I very rare even have a beer, and I volunteer. It's my way of giving back. I mean, I have a master's degree that I got from the GI Bill, my way of giving back here. And, it keeps me grounded, and, I can pass along, what worked for me, maybe help some young vets out that are struggling, or try to keep these families together. I call it wraparound services. You can't just treat me, the veteran. You got to take care of my spouse, a significant other, and you got to take care of my children, because our disabilities affect that whole family. So that's very, very important for me.
So it's really the whole, for lack of a better term, being the veteran, the spouse, and the family unit as a whole.
Absolutely.
And when you have one of these retreats and you see the veterans interacting with the presenters or instructors and yourself, how does that make you feel?
We have some great friends that we've met. We've met veterans from all over the country. We've had veterans come in from Walter Reed on the weekend and then drive back to Walter Reed, flying in from Michigan and California and Florida and Puerto Rico. It's heartwarming. It's nice to see. And, you see the kids, they're coming here when they're young kids, and now they're grown. This is our 9th year. The social media is great. We have a lot of our friends on our Facebook page. I mean, I think that we got like 11,500 likes on our page. We have a big following.
Make sure you like that page. And,
it's all about giving back. We have a lot of resources. We're putting a lot of things in the community. I post an awful lot. People say, Jesus, you're all over freaking social media. But, we want to let our sponsors and our donors know, hey, we're being good stewards of the donations and the things that we're receiving from you, and we're getting them out into the community and stuff. And this is what we're doing here. We're all volunteers. My wife's a volunteer. We're all volunteers. We have 4 part-time staff. 3 work 6 hours a week. 1 works 10 hours a week. And the rest are all volunteers. We have a Vietnam vet. He comes in on Tuesday. Maverick, he comes in, and Vicky and Betty and, just a whole host of them coming in, folding clothes, answering telephones. And, it's just a fun place to be here. No drama. We don't want any drama. and we just all get along. We're a family here, and we welcome people to come into our office here or our Westfield office up on Hampton Ponds Plaza up on 202. And
speaking of people coming in, I'm setting up, and this young woman comes in. I'm calling her young, and she has a bag full of hats, and we start talking about she crochets these or makes these, and I told her that I do some of it, and well, I can't put it on right now, but I love it. And is this the kind of things that people do for your organization? Who is this? You want to talk about her for a minute?
Yeah, Miss Belanger, she crochets, and she put a thing out there that she knitted. She wanted to knit the hats, gloves, and scarves, and we've been doing a lot of outreach stuff here, and we want to get this stuff out to the community for our veterans that are homeless or they just need a hand up. Maybe they don't have the income where they can buy this stuff here, and this is like her third trip down here, and we've also got a couple of ladies down at a housing complex. And Christ, they gave me like 6 boxes full of knitted stuff here. So we've been distributing this stuff all over the place here. And I'm glad you got a nice warm hat here because it's a little cold out there.
A little bit, and also it fits. I have all my Marine Corps buddies know that my head was a constant source of amusement. So the fact this fit right out of the box was great, and it was warm. It's about 14 degrees out here in Worcester right now. But again, somebody's taking the time to make something to bring down here and give away. And it just seems like that's
yeah. They come in here. We got the hats there. We're waiting on Nick, another fellow Marine of yours out there, and Nick's on our board of directors. And we got a woman coming in. She did a diaper drive, and she's bringing in boxes of diapers and baby wipes for us. And we have people coming in making cash donations, and we had 100 children's winter coats donated to us. And Betty, could you grab me one of those coats over there? I just want to show them. And that was paid by Unum Insurance Company here in Worcester. And so if you're a military member or a veteran and your child needs a new winter coat, we probably got about 50 of these left here. And we want to thank Unum Insurance Company for paying for these coats for us. And
that's
we
amazing.
Distribute these up in Western Mass at Westover Air Reserve Base and the 104th Fighter Wing, and the Marines up at the 25th Marines at Fort Devens and up at Westover. But we got a bunch of brand new coats here in a variety of sizes and stuff. So please come on down to our Worcester office or our Westfield office, and free of charge for the veterans. And we don't call it, it's not a handout, it's a hand up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you for helping out just then, Betty, and all the work you do here for Project New Hope. I'm Travis with Oscar Mike Radio, and I'm here with Bill, who's the president and CEO. One of the things that interests me very much about your organization, a lot of orgs, whether it's here or anywhere in the U.S., are usually based in one area only, but you service two areas. You service Western Mass, but you have an office here and in Westfield. What's that like, coordinating and serving the need in these two locations?
Well, I might be here in these two locations, but I'm also working with my colleague Don Cox at the Mass Military Support Foundation down Cape Cod, working with our colleagues up in Western Mass, up in North Central Mass. It doesn't matter. My office might be here, but I live out of my truck. I'm probably putting on 1,000 miles on my truck a month. With the drive and that I'm doing. We load up our supplies, our coats, and we got a big donation of food to supplement someone so they might not be able to pay for food or worry about that next meal. So we received a couple of pallets of food. So we're going to be going up to the Athol area on Tuesday with some of those knitted hats and coats and some of the food stuff, and get it up there to the VSOs, because they're right on the forefront. The veteran service officers in Massachusetts is a veteran service officer in every town and city hall in Massachusetts. And it would be great if all these other states did the same thing, because they know who the homeless vets are, because there's a lot of veterans, they don't want to go live in a shelter. They would rather live out on the street or in a tent or whatever. And those are the veterans we want to reach. And who knows about those veterans? The veteran service officer. And that's why we try to get the supplies to them. And then they know where they hang out, where they're sleeping, where these encampments are, and try to reach them and take care of them.
Speaking of veterans having these kinds of challenges, you've been doing this now for 10 years. You have extensive experience in the social services sector. What What are the couple of the biggest challenges veterans face now, just in general or that you've seen?
Well, maybe healthcare. A lot of vets, they're frustrated with the system. You can take your DD 214, you can go up to your local VA clinic or VA hospital, and you can get, get in there and get your health care. I know it's income, whether, you have to pay a copay or not. If you're a disabled vet, I'm 100% service connected. So I get all my health care, even though I'm a retiree from the Commonwealth of Mass. I do all my health care at the VA. But it's that there, just not knowing what the services are. A lot of what I see is a lot of the men and women here. It's almost like when we were processing out of the military. You got that slip of paper, you got to go everywhere, and they got to sign off.
Right,
You
right.
turn this in.
Right.
It's almost like when the men and women are deploying, they call it the yellow ribbon program. Well, they're there. They're required to be there. And I always say, take the information that's being provided there, because as soon as you deploy or you go on a mission, something's going to happen on the home front. And it's not like when I was in the service, I had to wait for a letter for a couple of weeks there. They were on social media, their phones, their texts, and they know what's going on at home. And we're trying to keep their head straight here. We'd rather have the families contact our organization or some of the other great veterans organizations in Mass here or our surrounding communities and say, hey, I got a problem here. Let us focus, try to help out your families. But I think that's the biggest thing, is letting them know, when we're doing our outreach here. Wow, I didn't know about Project New Hope. Well, here, I carry flyers here for our partner here, the Mass Military Support Foundation. We hand that stuff out there, because we all bring something different to the plate. And I always tell the veterans too, join your VFWs, join your American Legions, join the Disabled American Veterans, join AMVETS, because we're getting away from that. And
Yes.
these veterans organizations are there, and we're passing legislation to take care of us veterans. You might not need it now. You might be a young buck or, a young lady just got out of the military. But when you get my age, up in your 60s here, and something's going on here, you want to have them resources. And if we don't participate in joining these organizations here to fight for us in Washington and get on the local level, we're really screwing ourselves here. So I encourage people to join those organizations there and stay involved. Get connected here, because I've been doing this for a long time. To me, it's probably keeping me alive. It's probably keeping me sane. Being retired, I retired at 50. I'm 61 now. I've been doing volunteering. I joined the Lions Club, the Masons, the Shriners, the Rotary Club. It's in a lot of just giving back here, because I'm blessed. I own a little ranch. I'm not into material things. I love my family, my grandchildren, my friends, the vets that I meet. It's all about giving back. We're here for a purpose here, and I don't do drugs, and I very rarely drink. I went out with my son for a new brewery here, and they had, what they call it, a flight or something. And I had like a buzz on. I had about freaking 2 of those beers, and my son's like laughing at me. Dad, geez, I haven't had a freaking beer in a long time. I said, what's the percentage? Like 7% in this one or 8% in that? But, it's all about, helping out one another and giving back here. And that's what I enjoy doing.
So a lot of this is just a real personal connection with you and your community and the veterans you serve. You've got this thing going. You have a lot going on for 2019. I guess I want to do this next is, what can people do to help you out who maybe don't live in, it's not Worcester, it's Worcester or Worcester, but living in the Worcester area, if they're, on the other side of the state or in the South Shore, what can those people do to help out or be involved?
It's, we love to have volunteers come on board, fill out a volunteer form and get involved. We always looking for help with our motorcycle fundraiser. We're looking for help with our golf fundraiser, participate in our fundraisers. Like that Mrs. Blanger who came in, donated hats, scarves, mittens, gloves, but, nothing, all that personal stuff. Costs money, we always need the cash donations to, pay for the rent and the place up there. But that's pretty much our only overhead for the retreats there. If you're you do Reiki or massage or reflexology or one of those, and you want to volunteer, we'd love to have you come on board here and provide those services to the veterans and interact with the vets and stuff. And, we do the fishing thing where we have a lot of bass fishermen. They come down with about 8 bass boats. They take all the vets out fishing and stuff. So there's a lot of ways of giving back here. And a lot of the other organizations, like we all came together for the Coast Guard. You had Ocean State Job Lot. A lot of people don't know Ocean State Job Lot provides all the food for all these food pantries, like the Boston Food Pantry, and they're providing all those sources there, and they do an incredible job. But we all came together. We had the gift cards that we raised for Christmas. We donated them to the Coast Guard. One hand helping the other here, and it's great to see. It really makes you feel good. We had all the toys here. We had a warehouse in the back here, and our Operation Cheapest Christmas program. We have veterans and military members sign up online, and they have a wish list, and then we have donors say, hey, I want to adopt a family, and we have families that get adopted, and then the ones that don't get adopted, we still have toys, age-appropriate toys for their families, and we put them in there. How we had the gift cards is we have a lot of the older adolescents. You see Toys for Tots, it's usually the young children 0 to maybe 13. We want to make sure that every child, gets something. If we can give them like a $25 gift card. And we're always looking for the gift cards because we have veterans coming in, they're looking for maybe gas. They're looking for, they don't have any food. If we got $25 gift cards or $50 or a cash donation, they can specify where they want that donation to go. If they want to help out with a retreat, say, I'd like to make a donation. I'd like to pay, make it towards the alcohol and drug recovery retreat. We have a lot of information on our social media sites, our website. We just launched that yesterday. And we got some incredible videos up there that we did about our PTSD retreat. And, our wellness clinic, there's another one on the volunteer page. So there's a lot to do to give back. And what I pride myself in is we have a lot of donations coming in, as you can see in the background here.
Absolutely.
And what I try to do is I take care of my military families. I take care of my veterans families. And there's so much of it that I put it back in the community because the community supports me. I want to be a good partner and a good steward and put that back into the community because there's a lot of families out there in the community that are struggling as well. And there's so much stuff here. I mean, 9 boxes. You see them over here to my right. 9 boxes a day, week come in here. And there's so much of it. So we rotate the stock to the baby pantry down at Bourne, down at Otis Air Force Base on the Cape, Joint Base Cape Cod. We, put some stuff down there. We have up in Westfield here, and then we put stuff back into the community. And, we're in this together. It's not just a veterans issue here. We want to take care of the people in our community as well.
Well, I want to take some time. There's been some comments coming in. Just go over those, see if anybody weighs in with any questions or things they want to talk about. And we're having a great time here. I'm Travis with Oscar Mike Radio. Bill, who is with, and he's the CEO of Project New Hope here in Worcester, Mass. Having a great time learning about his organization. Let me go up here. Let's see here. Lori from Illinois. She's a friend of mine. She says, great insights and meaningful life story. Going back to school is more than just what kind of student you used to be. And you'll be genuinely surprised and blessed by how those classes enrich your life with the people that come into your life. Did that ever happen? Did anybody in your academic career have an impact on you that you still draw on today?
I thank you for your question. I loved going to school because, it put me back into the classroom. I'm a little bit more mature than when I was in high school. And, I had my military service and I'm back in school here. I had a teacher there that I still keep in contact with. She had like a big impact on my life about my community service and giving back. And I enjoyed that. I still go over to Assumption College, and the alumni raises money, military appreciation. They have the football game, and they bring the vets in as honorary captains, and we sit in on the team meetings and stuff. And of course, we're loving it because the coach is yelling at them, and they're like, "Did they ever yell at you in the military?" I said, "Oh, this is like a drop in the bucket here, But it's school, and one, you're getting an education where it can improve your lifestyle and your outlook to provide for your family and stuff. But you're also meeting with men and women in the classroom, and you can. I'm still learning. I learn something new every day.
Oh wow! So we have Jorge Rodriguez says, You are a great support to us, Bill. He wanted to chime in and say that.
Thank you, brother.
And Marjorie Pennington, we love Project New Hope, and we miss you, Betty.
Betty's right there.
Yeah, you all do such great work. Thank you, Bill, for your hard work. She's chiming in. Thank you very much, Marjorie.
Marjorie's from Maine. Her husband's a wounded warrior, and we're partnering with her husband on a retreat, a PTSD retreat. And Marjorie is a fellow with the Elizabeth Dole Foundation.
Oh, wow.
So thank you for chiming in from cold Maine.
Yeah, it's probably very cold in Maine right now.
Betty,
oh, come on, Betty. Come up here and say hello.
Don't be shy.
Betty was very emphatic earlier. I am not getting on camera, but there she is.
There she is. All right.
What did Mom say? Hi, Mom.
Awesome. Let's see here. Jessica Rodriguez. Bill, you're a veteran caregiver. Your veteran caregiver retreat was such a blessing and helped. To me, it helped me build friendships and support with your other caregivers. And she goes on to say, your veteran family retreat brought friendships for all members of our family. The educational programs brought so much valuable information and tools. We love Project New Hope. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. It's nice to get emotional. It's nice to hear that. You don't hear it too often.
And Jessica, Betty's like stealing the limelight from us, Bill.
That's all right.
Jessica Rodriguez says, Betty, we love you, Betty, and all the Project New Hope staff.
Oh, thank you.
Wow.
It's a great organization.
So Mark Carlson does a military podcast site. He's in Vegas and says, hello, guys. Keep on keeping on. I'm listening while on vacation in Vegas. Yeah, hope you're enjoying the warmth out there. I am a past American Legion post commander and love my community. And a Marine I served with in Bravo Battery, Tawny Vernader Cyphus, just joined. Thanks, Tawny. So, I mean, obviously, you both have had a very big impact on some people's lives, and you're continuing to do that, which is what this is all about, right?
Absolutely. It's I'm rough around the edges. I'm kind of stern. But it's just me. I think a lot of our participants that come to the retreats sometimes forget that the people running this organization were veterans, and we're disabled veterans, and I get some of the same things that trigger me to this day here. I'm a fanatic with my nonprofit because I started it because I feel like it's an image of me, and I want to make sure everything is. I'm like a micromanager, if you want to say, but I want to make sure that the reason the retreats is I do 15 veterans. The max I'll do is 20. So you figure 20 veterans, 20 spouses. I'd rather do another retreat and have them get the full exposure of what the retreat is all about than to have somebody come and fall through the cracks. But, we get some great volunteers coming in and helping us. It's fantastic.
Tony says, from a nurse's standpoint, I really appreciate the effort you are putting into help out other caregivers. So she is in another state south of us. And very good, Tony. Thank you very much. Betty, would you humor us? I just want to hear how this has affected you, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well,
it's fine. I'll turn it up. Go ahead.
After my husband passed away, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and then I was at a veteran breakfast one day, and Bill was there. He was the master of ceremony. So we got introduced, and, he just started talking to me and, asked me if I wanted to volunteer. So he invited me down here to volunteer. And I just love this program. It's very helpful. I've met a lot of wonderful, wonderful people. And, I can't say enough about the program. I'm very, very happy here. Like I said, I met a lot of very nice people, and we've stayed in contact all this time too, which is nice. Yeah.
Awesome. So you can, doesn't matter, where you are, you can help out at any time you want. Let's see here. We have another check-in. Tom Lamica says, great job, Project New Hope 22. He checks in. Thank you very much for
Tom is the gentleman who works my Westfield office. Tom was an Air Force vet. retired Chicopee police officer, working. He works for Brooke up there, and I want to do a shout out to Brooke. Brooke, happy birthday! You got your birthday coming up here, so I wanted to give you a shout out. And Tommy does some incredible work out there. Tommy came on doing a few hours here, and you guys are doing some fantastic work out in Western Mass on the outreach there, and we're making a difference. And Tommy and Brooke, they're incredible out there and stuff. So glad that they're on board.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your work, Tom. So as we wind down, just from my perspective is this is kind of, why the podcast was created. There's a lot of people doing a lot of things in their community, and they're not looking for fame or fortune or notoriety. They have this burning desire to serve. And that's what I'm seeing here is you took something that, your experience in the military and made it work for others, and you really get some satisfaction out of that, and people gravitate toward that. The story still has to be written. You're going strong, but where would you like to see the veterans community here in the next, 3 to 5 years? Because you're right. The reason I ask that is because just from when I was in, things have changed a lot. There were not the amount of resources available to me that there is now to a guy getting out,
right,
or female getting out.
Right. You don't have to get into something like the military. If you want to go and coach your son or your daughter's basketball or baseball or softball, get involved in the community, join the Lions Club, get back into the community and feel alive. I feel alive when I'm doing this. I love it when I'm out. I mean, I'll talk to anybody, my wife kills me. Like, but I talk to the guy sweeping the floor. I'll talk to the CEO. I'm just comfortable talking to everybody. We're all on the same level. We're all God's creatures here. We all got stories, and I always say I'm not above you. I'm not below you. I'm right here. I don't like to see. I'm the CEO, president, but I don't like that. When I go out, I'm Bill Moore. It's I'm not. My Sue runs the office. Sue runs an iron fist here, and so I probably work for Sue. But but we got a great team here, and everybody kicks in here, and we got great friends that are reaching out on Facebook. And thank you very much. I got emotional there because it's it's nice to hear. We don't hear that too often. We try, but I want people to realize that we're veterans ourselves, and we're going through some of the same struggles and stuff. I sometimes come across the wrong way. That's what's bad with social media. Sometimes when you're typing and stuff, it's like, wow, why is he yelling at me? But I'm not. It's just my mind is going so fast. Like, I'll reach out. It was funny. I was talking with Matt. Matt says, "Hey, Bill, don't send a message on my Facebook page. Send it over to my number here." But I might be scanning my phone, and oh, Matt, something dawns in my head. So I send a message wherever I'm looking at, and that's part of my PTSD. That's part of, what I learned with that's why I'm so big into the wellness there, because when I was at the VA and they were introducing the tapping, and I said to my therapist, got the whatever here. And she's, "Bill, just try it." And because my brain was going so fast here. So when I started learning to do the tapping, and you know what? It actually worked. And I was sitting in my therapist's office at the VA, and I quiet my brain down, whether it's mindful meditation, the breathing, and I could hear a bird chirping on the branch outside the window. And I would have never heard that if I didn't embrace what they were trying to teach me here. So I would say to my fellow, when you're going there to the VA or the vet center or wherever for treatment, and they say, "Hey, try mindful meditation, try reflexology, open up that, don't have that tunnel vision, try it." Because my cousin's a Vietnam vet, a Bronze Star recipient. He loves yoga. Now he's into mindful meditation. And I went to a retreat with Claude and Shin Thomas. He was a Vietnam veteran, got the Silver Star, the Distinguished Flying Cross, like 525 combat hours or whatever. And he's now a Zen Buddhist monk. And we brought him in for a retreat. Incredible. So he says, somebody asked me, "Do you believe in reincarnation?" And he says, "Yes, one breath at a time. Because if you're not breathing, you're not here no more."
Oh, wow.
So,
That's pretty deep.
yeah, very deep. And his name is Claude Inchin Thomas, and you should maybe look him up on Facebook, and he's incredible. Incredible.
Check him out. Checks back in. Jessica Rodriguez says, Project New Hope, being an Elizabeth Dole Foundation caregiver grant recipient, is an amazing feat. EDF has very strict standards and guidelines that need to be met to get the grant. Bill, your work in support of our veteran caregivers is exceptional.
Thank you.
So just all kinds of good stuff. And for me, I really am finding out that I enjoy this interaction that I have because of the podcast. I get to learn, I get to meet people, and I get to tell their story on their terms. And it's more than just a news soundbite where you get to sit down with somebody, get maybe 2 or 3 minutes on a new TV channel, and they're done with you. I've gotten to build some really great relationships, and I hope as time goes on, we can continue this. And if you have something coming up, I can come and do a similar live cast at one of your events and spread the word and keep it going.
Trevor, let me just throw one other thing here, is we got a great working relationship with the Massachusetts National Guard. Major General Gary Keefe. We have a memorandum of understanding with the Mass National Guard. Colonel Pete Green up at the 104th Fighter Wing. Colonel Tommy Stewart on the Army side. These guys, men and women here, Dana and Lieutenant Colonel Shannon McLaughlin, incredible. And what General Keefe did is he brings in like a quarterly meeting down at Hanscom Air Force Base, and we all sit around the table, and all the different veterans organizations, people that are supporting the men and women in the Mass National Guard. I got to say hats off to him, because he's really brought this community in together here, and we're working as one here. And, we've been supporting them for a long time, but Lieutenant General Leon Rice, Catfish, he was flying the F-111s at Cannon Air Force Base, where I got hurt and where I was stationed for a while. But guys, thank you very much for what you're doing and allowing us to help out the men and women in the National Guard here, and then down at Hanscom Air Force Base. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them, and because they're a big part of it.
So just briefly, a couple more people, then we'll start wrapping this up. Jessica says, hi, Dia. Hi, Marjorie. Marjorie Pennington says, I love reflexology. I was able to experience this at the caregiver retreat. Absolutely amazing. You need to have that alternative therapy to help reduce stress. Well, it's just awesome stuff. There's no drugs involved, no alcohol involved. It's just, I really, because you're right. A lot of veterans my age and younger are embracing, wellness activities that 10, 20, 30 years ago would be poo-pooed. Now they're embracing them as a way to deal with their challenges in a meaningful way.
Just 2 other things. One
Sure,
other thing.
yeah.
I just want to thank Texas Roadhouse in Worcester. Thank you very much, Brianna, for the gift of these gift cards here that I hand out to veterans here. And that's from all your patrons up there. And we appreciate it. And what I do is I bundle these $30 a piece, and I give them out to veterans and just thank them for their military service from our friends here at Texas Roadhouse up in Worcester. And just one other thing. If you made a donation, this is we've been doing for 9 years. This is going to be our first annual report we've ever mailed out, and it gives you a highlight of everything we've been doing with Project New Hope. And this will be coming in the mail here in the next. I think they did the mailing yesterday, and there's a donation envelope in here. And if you could help us out with a donation to keep doing what we're doing, we'd really appreciate it. But Travis, thank you very much, brother, for driving up here and spending some time with me and meeting my wife and Nick and Betty and our VFW.
Been a pleasure. Oh, we got somebody coming in.
Oh, we got the Marine creeping in here.
Oh, come on, say hello.
Nick, come here. Say hi. Come over here by Betty. Come on. This is Nick, Marine Corps veteran.
Nice to meet you.
Super Fly, brother.
Super Fly.
Oh, did you get a haircut?
Yes.
Wow.
So Nick, you're on the live stream right now, so you guys say a few things. And we got the same haircut. We got the same barber.
Hey,
my barber's chic.
Stick with what works.
Absolutely. So, Nick, just want to give me a few words about how you got into helping out with Project New Hope, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I was 5 years in the Marine Corps.
Semper Fi.
I was in the initial invasion, 2003. I met Bill through. I was part of another entity that we kind of collaborated together. Loved what he was doing. Went to a retreat, so I decided to stick with him. Me and my wife started volunteering, and they asked us to be in the board of directors, and we love everything that this group does. So,
and you know, Betty does a lot of the organizational part of it. What do you do with this group?
We help out at like retreats. I'm not working right now, so I'll come in and help be as whatever I can do, whatever they need me to do. And
how many diapers did they bring in, the donor?
They brought like 5 boxes of diapers in, gloves, hats, some formula.
Diapers are huge. I mean, people don't understand if you're on an E4, E3, or E5 salary. You go through 4 box diapers a month. That's a big chunk of change.
Yeah. So, oops, sorry.
So we got donors coming in all the time like this. They'll call and say, "Can we come down?" And so Nick will come down and help out. And it's good to have an extra set of hands here. He's a Marine, so he can do a lot of the bull work.
Now wait a minute. We got a Tom Lamica, Nick, who's saying
show me your shirt.
He wants to see the shirt.
Yeah, stand up here. Get up here.
Whoa! Well,
that's our shirt. We start as a team. We finish as a team.
Now that's an awesome shirt, ladies and gentlemen. Why'd you cover that up? Hey, thanks, Tom, for
thanks, Tom.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a little Air Force leadership here. We had to get that.
Here we go.
Awesome. So, Laura Richardson Payne, thank you for checking in. She's been following me for a while. Dia Ware, did I get that right?
Yep.
Caregiver retreat is wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed it and look forward to another. Bill and his crew are caring and wonderful. Love them all. Awesome. So I'm just going to kind of do a standby and wind down, see if any more questions come in. I love this, the fact that, now when we first came in, ladies and gentlemen, Betty was like, I want nothing to do with this. Nothing. I just want to watch. And she came up here and got in the fun. Thanks for checking in, Nick. I mean, and I think it's important to show that people who are either veterans or non-veterans, male, female, whatever, you can help out right where you are at any time if you want to. And I do have a question. A lot of veterans tell me, oh my God, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. No one wants to hang out with me. I don't feel, like I involve anywhere, and there's nobody who understands me. And Bill, I and Nick and Betty, I try to tell them that you just gotta look. There are crews out there. You can find your tribe. Why is that so hard for me to communicate sometimes?
We've had Eagle Scouts and the Boy Scouts coming here doing an Eagle Scout project where we benefit from what they're providing. We have veterans and civilians that come in and they do an internship here, answering the phones. We're always looking for that type of help. We have veterans coming in here. We can find something. We don't have like a big building where you can do a lot, but, come in, answer the phone, stuff, help out in the baby pantry here, help sort. We're always looking for help here. And Donna, my wife, runs that ship there, and she'll get you on board if you want to come in here and you get something there. You're smiling here. I don't know.
Dia Ware says, gotta love Mama Betty. She is awesome.
Yeah, I'm the den mom.
Oh, love it.
They nickname me the den mom.
Yeah, when guys come in, like the vets will come in here, and so I'll say to, we had a vet yesterday come in, I'll say, hey, are you single? And the guy will say, Betty's available here. Well, Betty, too, she doesn't turn red anymore, but the vet was like, my God. And we just have a lot of fun here. So it's, oh my God. It's, but it's just happy-go-lucky. Yeah. Easy going.
Easy pace.
So we're winding down. So here's what's going to happen is I will take this live stream and do 2 things with it. I'll turn it into a podcast. It'll be number 134. Next Thursday is the 6th, I think. Anyway, it'll air next Thursday, but also I'll be able to take this video and turn it into this live stream and turn it into a video, and it will go up on YouTube and as a Facebook Live replay. So you're going to be able to see this on my website on OscarMikeRadio.com, on the YouTube channel. You'll be able to watch the Facebook Live video anytime you want. And the reason I do that is you'll never know when someone's just searching around one night or one day and like, is there anything going on they might have heard of Project New Hope and want to find out more, and this will come up. So you're going to be on number 134 for Oscar Mike Radio. People can find you. You can share the video, share the YouTube channel if you want, whatever you want to do, and take that and run with it. And like I said, I would be totally willing to come back at an event or future time if you want to talk again. I've thoroughly enjoyed this time. So for everybody who joined in the fun, this has been great. We've actually gone over our time, which is never a bad thing. And
Go Patriots.
Go Patriots. There's a lot of Pats fans up here. Oh, my God. It's just a pleasure, Bill. Nice meeting you, brother.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. Look, hey, wow.
Wow.
A lot of shine.
She's
Dude.
got a T-shirt made up.
A lot of shine.
Mama Betty, I love it. I love it. So I'm Travis, Oscar Mike Radio. I'm with Bill, CEO of Project New Hope, Mama Betty, Brother Nick. Want to thank Bo's company for providing headphones and support for Project New Hope and our veterans, Texas Roadhouse, the Massachusetts
Military Support Foundation.
Thank you, Massachusetts Military Support Foundation.
A picture of those Bose headphones on you. There you go.
There we go, because we got to wear the cans. That's what we call them in podcasting. I'm Travis. We're shutting this down. We're on the move. Thank you so much for everybody who chimed in and joined in. You will see this Thursday and more to follow. And Juan Rivera says, great interview. Thank you very much, Juan. I'm Travis. This is Oscar Mike Radio, and we're on the move. Take care and stay warm.